Hello, this is Kevin from AMT Software, and this is the second video in a series of lessons intended to introduce Prospector to new users. If you haven't done the previous lesson on projects, you should check it out before continuing with this video. We'll be doing a series of lessons all based on this project. We'll keep building up on it, so it's important to go through the lessons in order. This lesson will be about the Prospector user interface. The menu bar, we'll go over the menus, the toolbars, status bar, the 3D view, and the program list. So let's get started. Prospector is a standard Windows application. It's got our title bar, which is going to contain the name of the project I've loaded, job name there and project name. Pretty standard menu. File for working with projects, edit for editing programs and wireframe, view for view manipulation and display, project, some more commands for working with projects, commands for programs, setups, workspaces, which is an advanced topic, tools for making profiles and measuring, as well as settings and customization, and the help menu, which has access to our extensive help, as well as Prospector resources on the web. The toolbars provide a subset of the functionality. The menus have all the functionality available in Prospector. The toolbars just have a subset of the most commonly used commands. We've got the project toolbar here, measurement toolbar, view toolbar, editing toolbar on the right, and below that is the wireframe making profiles, circles, rectangles, and all that. And down below we have the status bar with the message area. Here, whenever you do a command, you'll get a message, or if you hover over an icon, it tells you a little bit more information about what that tool does. The next area is the units. This is the units of the project that I'm working in. This project's in inches. The next three are the XYZ location of the cursor in the view. So as I move my cursor over the model, there's inferencing on right now, and it's telling me where that point on that edge is, and it's reporting it in the status bar there. We've got some more view icons, the zoom scale, and a slider bar to zoom in and out. All right, let's move on to the 3D view and interacting with that. There's a couple ways to work with the 3D view. One is our own proprietary what we call cursor strokes. And the way I do a cursor stroke is I press and hold the left mouse button and I drag the cursor. And it leaves behind these little plus signs wherever I drag. And that can execute a command. Some of the more common ones or useful ones are for zooming. If I do with a circle, it will zoom in to that bounding box of that circle. Or I can do this stroke here from the upper left down to the right back up, also zooms in to that bounding box of those two corners. Another useful one is the Z stroke, which will fit the view. So if I just draw a Z, fits the model to the view. The last one I want to mention is the previous view, which is drawing a Z backwards. So I'm going to start from the bottom right, go up, and now I'm back to where my previous view was, exactly what this icon does. So you see, this is very useful for navigating around the part. I can zoom in, fit my view. Very handy couple of cursor strokes to know. We'll be supplying a cheat sheet of the useful strokes and shortcut keys with these lessons. So onto the shortcut keys. I'm sure you're familiar with stuff like copy and paste, Control C, Control V. These are pretty standard. But we allow you to use any key, not just Control or Alt or any of those. Any key can be assigned to a command. And again, out of the box, we've got some shortcut keys already defined. Useful ones there are the Z key to zoom in, and the Shift Z, so a capital Z, will zoom back out. The C key, C as in cat, will center the view about the cursor. So wherever I put my cursor, it gets centered. So if I'm zoomed in, I can center the view based on where the cursor is. Another handy one, well, several handy ones, are the arrow keys, and these will pan the view. Let me fit here. These will pan the view, left and right arrows, and then up and down arrows. All right, the last thing I want to talk about in the 3D view is about modes. Now, by default, we're in select mode. And some commands are just immediate, like if I zoom in, it just zooms in, zoom out. Nothing special about that. But some other commands shift modes. You're going into a separate mode where things behave a little bit differently. So if I were going to create a rectangle, now I'm in rectangle mode, and I'm going to draw as many rectangles as I want. The strokes and cursor keys, shortcut keys, still work. So I can zoom in while I'm making a rectangle, fit, and center, pan with the arrows. Those all still work while you're in that mode. Also, the context-sensitive menus change based on the mode, and the menus are when you right-click in the view. When I right-click, I got some options here when I'm in rectangle mode. I can do some view commands, or I can change the stamp filter, drop points based on vertex or center. To get out of a mode, I just have to hit the escape key, and that will always get me out of the mode. Here's the context menu for select mode. See, it's a little bit different than what we had for the rectangle mode. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is the program list, and this is where you'll be spending a lot of your time here. This is a tree structure like Windows Explorer. If you're out in the, exploring folders and files, works very much like that. The top level is the project. So there's my job and project name. The next node is the setup node. That's our setup we created in the first lesson. And you can have any number of setups. So setups can be added to the project. The next level is the category. Now these are always available for each setup. And these are a way of sorting out your programs. You don't want to jumble them up all together. A way of putting your roughers in this category and semi and finish. That's an easy way of ordering and keeping things straight. Each node also has a context-sensitive menu that will affect that node, what that is. So if I right-click on the project node, I can add a new setup, which would be added before the first one. I can look at the properties. I can print. If I right-click on the first setup, again, print, I can create a new setup, which will be added after this. Work with workspaces. Again, look at the properties. Properties will be available for most of the nodes. The category nodes, rough and semi-rough, semi-finish, finish, all have the same context menu. So this is where I can start creating programs, 3D programs, 2D, or importing, and then workspaces. And that's it. That's the Prospector user interface. We've got menus, toolbars, which are customizable. The status bar gives you all the information and some view commands. The 3D view, where we'll be looking at not just the model, but working with programs once we create them and load them. And then the program list, which has our project, our list of setups for the project, the categories, and then programs that we're going to create in those categories. And that's going to be the next lesson. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at support@amt-software.com. We'll see you in the next lesson.